Hello and welcome to another tier list video. Today we're taking a look at the Harry Potter movies. Now, I've never read the books of the Harry Potter series, but I've seen all the movies at least a handful of times, and I really enjoy them, so I'm really excited to do this list. Starting us off, we have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Obviously, the first movie in the series, and I think anytime you have a movie series that's going to have multiple movies, I think the first movie is always really important. Choosing, good actors and actresses for the characters, setting up the world well, things like that. And I really think this movie does a good job. It's a pretty old movie, came out in the early 2000s, but even watching it now, I really don't think it looks too dated. Sure, there are some special effects that, definitely show their age, but I think for the time that it came out and just overall the story and the plot of the movie, I think is really, really good. And for that reason, it's going to be solidly in the A tier for me. Up next, we have Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now, this is probably my least favorite movie in the series. I don't really feel like a whole lot important happens in this movie. There is some decent character development, but overall, I don't think anything super substantial happens. And even just the whole plot of, finding out what's going on at Hogwarts, and even the main bad guy, I guess the Basilisk. I didn't find it super interesting. I will say the whole thing with Tom Riddle's diary I think was really cool. I did like that aspect of the movie. But overall, there just wasn't a whole lot there for me compared to the other movies, but still enjoyable, but it'll find itself in the D tier. Up next, we have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This movie I think is really solid, definitely a solid rebound after the second movie. I don't really have too much bad to say about this. I think it's just really good. The introduction of Sirius Black, I think he's a great character, and I just think there's a lot of entertaining scenes in this. Just overall a pretty solid choice, so it's gonna be in the B tier. Up next, we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I can remember the first time I actually watched this movie, I remember not enjoying it that much, and the past couple times that I've watched it recently, I've really enjoyed it. So I don't really know why, but at the beginning I had kind of a bad taste in my mouth about this movie, but recently when I rewatched it, I really quite enjoyed it. I think the wizard competitions are pretty cool. I think the new characters it introduces as well are really good, and overall, just another solid movie. Doesn't do anything super special, but just a good choice, so it's going to be also finding itself in the B tier. Up next, we have Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I think this one is really cool. I love the whole plot with Umbridge coming to Hogwarts. I mean, she's got to be one of the most hated characters in the series, but I just think the actress who plays her does such a good job of just having the smugness that her character needs. And I just think it's really entertaining. There's a lot of funny parts in this movie, and overall, I think it's just really cool. So Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is going to be a solid A tier for me. Up next, we have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This is probably my favorite individual movie in the series. There's just so much cool stuff about this movie. We learn a lot more about Snape, which I think is really cool. And overall, there's just a lot of interesting scenes, I think interesting characters. Harry Potter and Half-Blood Prince, definitely my favorite. Gonna be solidly in the S tier. Up next, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Now, obviously, the Deathly Hallows is just one book, but they made it into 2 movies, which I think was good because, so much happens. That being said, I think Part 1 is not very entertaining. It's definitely a very important movie. It does a lot of setup for the final movie. Super crucial that you don't skip this one. However, in terms of the entertainment value I get from an individual movie, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's pretty slow in a lot of parts. Like I said, it does a lot of important setup, but just the movie itself doesn't do a whole lot for me until you really finish Part 2. So Part 1 of Deathly Hallows is going to be a C tier for me. Last but not least, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I just think this is a great conclusion to the series. It's really entertaining, a lot of cool scenes. And I just really don't have any complaints about this one. I think it's really good. like I said, it's really important that you watch Deathly Hallows Part 1 before this, because there's so many important things that build up from the first part to the second part. But overall, I just think it's really good. Gonna be a solid A tier. Not quite on S tier like Half-Blood Prince for me, but definitely the top of the A tier. Well, that's my list. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I'd love to hear them, and I hope you enjoy.